Okay, and a little bit more into this. On this map, I could basically have my structure and start up a hurricane basically anywhere in this area underneath the clouds, and it should start off a rotation, bring it up to hurricane strength, and then I could take it down or take it up as long as the winds, as long as the jet stream isn't like down there having to cross paths. It might become difficult. Um, with the winds like this, jet stream is probably up here and down there, so I could bring it up here no problem. Or I could generate the hurricane underneath the clouds over here. Looks like over here is an area where the winds are spinning around where I could generate a hurricane. And it looks like over here possibly too. I'm not trying to start a hurricane in areas with upper winds that would just totally wipe out any convection cycle that I'm trying to start in order to generate a hurricane. That would be impossible. I wouldn't want to try starting it like over here or anywhere where it doesn't look like it'd be a good place to start it. Like that explains a lot. The areas where you got low pressure, little centers there. This area right here, where the jet stream's going, most likely, I would just like stay clear of there. But it just look like they have hurricanes or weather systems being formed at the boundary of where this is going. And of course you've got a storm that looks like it's forming up in that precious area over there. And see how the wind is bringing that and just thrashing this system. You could take the structure and have it fall underneath the clouds and develop it. See how this storm is like dissipating as it comes over to meet with towards the land area. Well, if I had the structure going on underneath that, I could possibly strengthen it up and develop it into it. Or I would pick an area like right there where there's no overhead wind and start it up there. Possibly over there. Possibly pick up some of this storm and generate it over here. Would be best like to pick it up over here, drive it down off the coast twice a year, and then spread water in for all the inland valleys over there, and provide the much needed water for all of California and Arizona. For Africa, you can see Africa's over here. Somehow we want to get the water to northern Africa, and that would become rather difficult because well, it looks like there's storm generation right here. Looks like if I did that, then it possibly would generate something over there, and then you could fill up the reservoirs and the waterways with water. Have the hurricane down here and provide water for southern Africa. Depends on where you are, and then you want to build flood control channels that would bring the water all the way inland to the areas that aren't near where they could pick up the water from the hurricanes. And to strengthen and some areas are not that great of an area to develop a hurricane. So what we want to do is we want to have to have some a boost to the convection cycle. And one way to do that would be to, since we have a huge 20-mile diameter structure, put 10 square miles of steel factory into there. 10 square miles of converting all the garbage that's in the middle of the Pacific Ocean into picking that shit up, or that stuff up, and converting that into benches and stuff. All of that would require heat to heat up the plastics and everything to melt it, and also to cool it off, possibly. And all of that heat is then transferred into the convection cycle and used. If you ever see a steel factory that's off of a coast or something like that, what they're doing is they're taking in ocean water, heating that stuff up, and then spitting it back out. And nuclear power plants also do this, and it just creates a lot of hot water, and then the ocean in that area has been heated up, and then they change the environment in the water, so it's very harmful to species. Like every time you do that to the ocean around where the river is, we're heating up the river using all of these heating procedures, and some of those procedures can be done, on ship, so we could do steel manufacturing on the ship, and that would take away from the problems it creates on land, and it add to the convection cycle. And that's about it. Once again, I'm just messing with the inner here. The sun's beating down on this. You got the hot, moist air from the ocean, and that's going to add to it. And, basically I'm just messing with the little thing right in there to make sure that the hurricane's eye wall goes where I want, and I can alter its course from where it wants to go by 10 to 30 miles per hour, and generate water to increase agriculture and feed the population up to about 20 billion people, which should be hopefully enough to save us off for another 100 years, so that we could develop, and by that time hopefully we've developed technologies out in space, to grow food out there. Be real simple. Just create tunnels in the different places and generate food. And you're going to want that for astronauts too, and for mining and everything else. But 100 years from now, I hope that we're on Mars and the moon and growing food out there. And with robots we could do it in mass ways, so that in 100 years I'm sure that we can feed more people if we have more than 20 billion people from food grown out in space. Shouldn't be that difficult. And just have the people that are in the position where they're going to starve to death, have them help out with building the waterways and the canals used for the flood irrigation. And then you'll have 2 to 4 billion people that don't have a job, that being housed, being fed. Just say, we require you to work 6 months to help out. Don't check. If they don't work, then they don't work. But my bet is that you won't have 4 billion people just sitting around doing nothing. A lot of them will be grateful to have food and will help out in any way they can. And a lot of them will try to make something of themselves and go out there so they could buy another house. Down in Beverly Hills or La Jolla. Whatever. Also, have a good one.